Good morning everyone, it's Kid Slot time and it is super to see you. You see what I did there? Yeah. Now why am I dressed like a superhero, you might be thinking? Well, let me tell you. Very often when we're looking at stories from the Bible, particularly from the Old Testament, the first half of the Bible, we can make the mistake of thinking that some of these characters that we're looking at are superheroes, when the truth is they're just ordinary people like you and me. And the reality is that it's not that these characters are the heroes of the story, it's that God is the hero of the story. And you know what? That is especially true of the story we're going to be looking at today. And that is the story of Joseph. Joseph had 11 brothers. Here they all are. Look at them. Aren't they amazing? Strong, strapping young men. 11. Can you imagine? But Joseph was his father's favourite son. And to show that he was his favourite, Jacob gave him an amazing Technicolor dream coat. This made all his brothers very jealous. Now, we don't have time this morning to go through the whole story of Joseph, but if you want to, if you head to the book of Genesis, you can see it all there. And when you go through the story of Joseph, you'll see that again and again and again, things look pretty bad for Joseph. He was thrown into a pit by his brothers. He was sold as a slave. Later on, he was even thrown into jail, not just for a day or a week, but for years, when he was completely innocent and had done nothing wrong. But God hadn't forgotten him. He was right there with him in all of those dark times. It was God who helped him do a great job for Potiphar, so that he was put in charge of Potiphar's whole household. It was God that helped him do a great job when he was in prison, so he was put in charge of running the whole prison. And it was God that helped Joseph to interpret the king's dreams, so that he was put in charge of the whole country. At the end of the story, when the brothers come to Egypt to get some food because of the famine in the land, and they finally realise that it's Joseph that they're talking to, they are worried. Is Joseph going to bear a grudge against us after all that we did? Ooh, what's going to happen? But Joseph says this to them: "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." It's amazing, isn't it? Even though things looked bad for Joseph and for God's people, God was in total control. So, who's the hero of the story? It's God, isn't it? Even though things look so bad at different times for Joseph and for God's people, God was right there in the midst of it. He was in total control. He was faithful. He kept his promises and he rescued his people. What a great God we serve.